Alright, so this is continuation of the video. Talking about this video here, I dedicated to the neighbor Method Jerman. This video here, I presented you exactly the circumstances, the environment, type of people, animals involved in this case from the Slovenian perspective. If you want to call the police, Slovenian police, like this, you will watch this video so that you get an idea what this was all about. This was about the neighbor Method Jerman, the video that you see right there. And it's now time to talk about Andrej Štefanič, the funny guy, the funny man from the Novo Mesto police station, who did not know nothing about, not Josip Broz Tito, not about UDBA, about OZNA in Slovenia. He knew nothing about political persecution. He considered me as insane. He suggested that I communicated with a police officer just by looking at each other. He knew nothing, close to nothing, about the neighbor here. I discussed in this video, Method Jerman. He did not know nothing about Tomaž Napečnik. He met Tomaž Napečnik for the first time during the meeting. That's what he claimed. When Napečnik came from Ljubljana. And it was MIRAN SODIN who came to meet me next. On October the 30th, I found myself at a psychiatric hospital, Ljubljana Polje. As promised during MK Ultra, the case is going to be. That was November the 30th, 2024. So the video I have now, in this video is very short and it's totally dedicated to two people. One is Andrej Štefanič, and another one is my father, whom this individual greatly assisted in whacking him, in getting him whacked. Because Štefanič, the funny guy, did not want to know nothing about my father. He made derogatory remarks, reminders from MK Ultra together with Tomaž Napečnik from Ljubljana who came. The meeting with the two people, I have described one in detail, translated it in English. It's like this. I did point to you out where our house is, at the Krka. The best will be to do like this so that you get on the map an idea where this would be, more or less. This entire area, this is like continuation of this video here. You know, the way they surveillance, the way they intimidated people, stalked people, lured into their homes, and then even suggested on how they managed to prevent catastrophes, fatalities, stabbings, and all kinds of stuff between people. Isn't that funny? I mean, that, you know, I wonder what exactly made people hot, what triggered anger in people, how they drove. Obviously, they drove people insane. There was all kinds of stuff that went on with this. I don't know how to refer to this other than garbage. Maybe somebody has an idea how I should refer to the murderers, killers that go in there, station that operates with intention none other than to hurt, damage, destroy, genocide, exterminate. They were talking about human rights violations. This got nothing to do with the human rights. This clearly is about other issues. This is about ethnic cleansing agenda. And ethnic cleansing, genocide, doesn't have anything to do with the human rights. Human rights are a milder category of the violations. But when it comes to the category of violation, like I'm talking about, that equals to Guantanamo, that presents situation of somebody who did not have any kind of right to life and was physically heavily exposed to torture. Forced unemployment was used to impose torture on him, with what became even psychiatric case after 38 years of torture and forced unemployment. This individual, talking about Andrej Štefanič, I cannot find garbage anywhere on the internet. It's exactly as he stated me it would be the case. He doesn't have anything about him on the internet. You don't get to see any kind of photo. I do not see any kind of photo here. I don't see any photo from him anywhere, for that matter. I just don't see it. This individual, to put it plain and simple, a bit hard for me to talk about this stuff, because I talk about this stuff and bad people get information on their table, basically, about my memory, what exactly I remember, what exactly I recall. And MIRAN SODIN was laughing in my face, together with Napechnik, with Štefanič. Just go home and keep writing. That's totally based on MK Ultra torture they exercised inside of the police station. This individual, together with the MIRAN SODIN, for me to say that he was meeting MIRAN SODIN, who was coming here from Ljubljana, is crazy. It's crazy because it's insane, because the statements Štefanič made at the police station, like that he first time see Napechnik, that he never met Tomasz Napechnik in his life, is insane, for one thing. He might have not met one as many times as he met also from Ljubljana, that was commuting here to Novo Mesto, MIRAN SODIN, but he definitely met him. Now, when you discuss the issue of a murder, homicide, in front of the son of the victim, as far as how far he should go, walk from home, so that the guy who originally was designated by Robert GOLOB, this is about this garbage here. Milan KUČAN, his deputy, was playing with his stuff here. This was a deputy from Milan KUČAN. This guy here. He deputized MIRAN SODIN as a potential individual that would come from Ljubljana, that they wanted to drive. From the beginning, they contemplated on a homicide. Would it be only father? Would it only be mother? Would it be both of them? I was not on the list to be murdered. From the beginning, Robert GOLOB, Milan KUČAN contemplated on a murder of father, possibly entire family. I did spoke about the father because through hospitalization issues. But I must also remind that these people contemplated on homicide inside of this home that would look like as if I committed one. Therefore, if I was to commit a crime, a homicide, it would concern both parents. It would concern my father, and it obviously would also concern my mother. And then comes the Milan Kučan, who finds me causing harm, fatality, on which, of course, I spent my life, this is how they planned on in Yugoslavia, behind bars. And the person who was selected for that, since they couldn't find, I'm not going to say qualified, but trusted enough individual, the right person, the first person who was designated for the job, just happened so to be, was none other than MIRAN SODIN. And MIRAN SODIN was designated as the one who would come from Ljubljana before 1989. Before 1989, because we have Mohar is his name here from the village, who supposedly prevented the homicide of our family in 1989. It wasn't only MIRAN SODIN who contemplated on a homicide in our family, but Milan Kučan literally got some people not from the village, but from outside of the village, from the direction of the Smolenia Gora, Smolenia Vas. They were going to do the job for Milan Kučan in 1989, when it was still Yugoslavia. Now, this is yet another video I have to report about. This was the video, this is the case for which absolutely everybody knew. And Germans, and British, and Americans, and even white folks from South Africa. They learned about the case of the people from Smolenia Vas, from Smolenia Gora, who attempted to raid this home, and I don't know, maybe also kill me, kill all of us. This is what police, upon investigation apparently, have come to conclusion, and they claim they prevented this thanks to this guy, Mohar, who was involved since my childhood. This is the guy who came to do the canalization here. How much truth in it was in it? I don't know. I know that MIRAN SODIN was designated with some other guys to do something very, very filthy. When I was just 16, 15 years old, MIRAN SODIN got an assignment, a filthy assignment, to do something here in our house, to my parents, to my father, my mother. They really contemplated on getting me behind the bars for killing both mother and my father. The one who contemplated on it was none other than Milan Kučan. And so Milan Kučan used the opportunity to reverse the issue into what became known as a prevention of the crime by using Mohar from Smolenia Gora. Not too far from here, maybe 2 kilometers from here, but outside of the village. Why outside of the village? Well, because the people in the village were involved in a lot of terror. I talked to you about the damage they were causing on the property, using knives to tear my shoes apart and stuff like this. And when Milan Kučan gave this kind of assignment, apparently there were no volunteers for it. So that Milan Kučan expanded his appetite to the area towards Smolenia Gora, Smolenia Vas, on what Milan Kučan became a hero. Because one of the people that worked obviously with the police, and for whom others did not know, managed to prevent this. Nobody ever told me about anything about this stuff. Nobody told me anything about this stuff, but this is the stuff they discussed during MK Ultra. Is it that this is what took place? Milan Kučan needed the credibility in eyes of my parents if he's gonna fuck me. Maybe not. Maybe yes. I definitely will find out what the truth is about what actually took place. Apparently it did. I cannot confirm that. All I know is that when apartheid ended in 1991, I think it ended, it was in 1992 that people, whites from South Africa in 1992 and 93, started to complain about farm murders in South Africa. They started to talk about the farm murders when they would come to us and they would refer. That's why I said that everybody knew about the case of Milan Kučan from 1989. 1989 and 1988. And people from South Africa claimed that it was identical to the issue that I experienced here at Krka. Now, I don't know about all this. I know that British royals absolutely knew everything about it. Now, I don't know what went on in the background. People in real time would not discuss with me these issues, but they did expect it from me to talk to you about how, not about the stuff that I talked to you about, how the Mohar is his name, the guy who did the canal here, the canalization in front of our house, how did he prevented this stuff? No, they expected for me to talk about how Milan Kučan sent people here to kill us. Because why? Because Mohar was completely from Milan Kučan since my earliest childhood. His family was involved in torture, in Mount Everest of torture since I was a child. From grammar school, Novo Mesto would deliver me to the Mohar at Smolenia Gora for torture purposes. When he left to the military, that was like in a 4th grade of the grammar school, mechanic. He became, I think, completion of the house, the new house, supposedly 7th, 8th grade of the grammar school. The 2 daughters, one of whom he wanted me to marry, etc., that kind of stuff. This guy was involved with Milan in a crew of Milan Kučan. The people here from Smolenia Vas, from Slatnik, from Krka, were extremely poor people. There was poverty, a lot of poverty here. And this was just, I was born in 1971. I was thinking about this stuff today. Stuff I'm talking about goes to maybe not even 27, 28 years after the World War II. This was from families that were involved in anti-German resistance, etc., Josip Broz Tito, Milan Kučan, etc. But this goes into a different category. But those days were just different, let's say. In certain ways were different. Now, terror was all the time, that we will kill you, we will come and kill you, your mommy and your daddy. This was all the time. You're going to tell that we tear your shoes, cut your shoes apart, and so on. This was a whole village involved in this stuff. This was a normal thing. However, this stuff grew into completely different category. It was all the time about we're going to kill your daddy and we're going to kill your mommy. And this, we're going to kill your daddy, we're going to kill your mommy, since my childhood grew eventually into Milan Kučan contemplating on doing something else. Really, kill your daddy, kill your mommy, and leave you home alone with delivering you, discovering with the police We found the corpses. Where were you, etc. And then the rest of it, you already know how it goes. This is how Milan Kučan wanted to prove my mental illness. Now, this plan in which MIRAN SODIN was involved in it, enrolled in it, on how he would come here and do the stuff for Milan Kučan, changed drastically in 1988, in 1989, because of the case that I stated. It must have been in 1989. Between 1988 and 1989, it changed drastically. So there were certain changes they made. And so they started the different systematic procedure beginning 1988 of getting my father destroyed. Basically, procedure to which I would refer as hit your son, kill your father procedure. That's when you have family member kill one another, basically. And they appointed my mama as a judge, challenging me on issues that I had nothing to do with it, and on the other hand, inciting father into lunacy. We did discuss that stuff about Štefanič, how he figured out that I demanded father to be thrown into the institution. 96, 97. We did that kind of stuff. And so in this video, I want to talk about Andrej Štefanič hallucinating together with Robert GOLOB, with MIRAN SODIN, about how far I can go from our residence during walk, during exercise. So fucking disturbing. Year we are talking about here was 1989, 1990, 1991, 1992, 1993, and Štefanič disappeared for a little bit. It was some university stuff like that, and then he appeared again in 97, in 96, in 97, 98. I think it had to do with the university job assignment. I have no idea what it was. I said 1989, I said 1990, 1991, 92. What the fuck went on? I was doing a boxing. And as a boxing, there you have it. Right? He's doing a boxing, he's crazy. This is what they told all the time. It's only for crazy people. Crazy people do that. And what exactly were they looking for with completely underpaid jobs, with insane work conditions, with the theft of the money through the work, what should have been a job? I also explained about how that stuff went. They were building, grooming me for something different. They wanted a case of domestic violence through home for elderly people. That's how they engaged my father into this mental game. This was 1988, 1989, 1990, 91, 92, 93, 94. Štefanič claimed that no, we did have this conversation, that he was at the university back then. I don't know where the fuck he was. He interpreted it whichever way he interpreted it. He was whatever the fuck he was. He also had something to do with the work assignments, etc., etc. He was involved in a lot of torture, and he found his way back in 95 and in 96. He wanted to come desperately back on the picture and was using others to profile me, to see how much I recall Štefanič's violence in my case. If I somehow assume that Štefanič was involved in violence in 1988, 97, 96, how much I remember, how much I recall this thug. Hey, I promised Štefanič I'm gonna break him every fucking bone in 95, in 1988, 85 in 1986, next to Teškavoda, not even far from home for elderly people. This is a fucking animal, ladies and gentlemen. This guy is everything but what he claimed he was during our meeting at this so-called police station in Novo Mesto. This is a brute. This is an absolute animal. But what made it even more really outstanding about this animal is what he started to hallucinate in when I was training boxing with Robert GOLOB, with Borut Pahar KUČAN, how I'm not supposed to go walk far from home. They were extremely disturbed about my discipline, about the workouts and stuff, dedication to the sport. Became disturbed. They couldn't do nothing because I was still in the school until 1991, and then everything so quickly happened that Yugoslavia just happened, so it had fallen apart. So whatever they wanted to kill and whatever they want to do, they just couldn't bring, they just couldn't realize that stuff. Americans knew all about it. And another one who knew even more about this stuff were whites from South Africa. White apartheid knew absolutely everything about this stuff. Germans, British were fascinated with this violence, insanity that raged here, and it appears it came handy down in South Africa. That's why I mentioned this stuff, not only for what exactly, who witnessed this stuff, for why, and so on, but it's got absolutely everything to do with it. They seems British really enjoyed this stuff. Talking about the royals here. Then I found myself over the course of the years with Štefanič in the back of the village. With Štefanič, they were always using evening stuff, nights. Were somehow alerted about, did not feel comfortable in a daylight really too much. They would, but this was through the heavy police presence. They even had drones at Trška Gora, from where you could nicely glimpse to the area behind the village at the same time as we would be walking up and down here behind the village. They would do the stuff if it was on open. It completely guarded and sealed the entire area, and then they would do the stuff like this. And so what exactly was it that Štefanič literally knew about how many minutes together with the SODIN it takes to come from Ljubljana to do the job in our home? Štefanič knew nothing about me, nothing about our family, but he had a whole architecture of killing my family. This killing of my family was reduced based on the statements which not only Štefanič had made, but also my father, who was extremely disappointed watching this. In a parenthesis, I'm going to say, and come to realize that I don't care. That I don't care. I was resented because I didn't care. I feel drugged up as I was, that if father is going to feel in danger, clearly transferred from killing the family, shifted into doing something to the father, therefore, and get my father into home for elderly people. That's what father was, that I don't care, that he doesn't believe, I believe you, you're fucking healthy, strong, you have you can talk, right? You're not crazy, you're not demented, you can do much more than I do. Sure enough, you can do enough to say, open your mouth and tell your son about what the fuck goes on so that he can help you out if you want his help. I don't know. This is the way I saw it. Now, hijacking me from America to Slovenia tells me about something completely different. why the fuck would you, this kind of stuff, and why did you not do this earlier, and many other issues I'm not going to get into. They literally measured the minutes of how long would it take to commute with the killing crew from Ljubljana to the Novo Mesto. You can say this was used to drive me insane, just to fuck around, just to drive you crazy. But my father is at home for elderly people based on MKHSN, just based on promises, just exactly in a way I was told it's going to be the case. Even the guy who took my father to the center of the city at Trdinova was not that he was involved in it. This was one of the most involved people, this guy here. This guy who has a house here behind the village. This is our village here. I'm going to say here directions. And then there is this village here. It's called, right behind the Žihovo Selo here, you get, and it's called Dolenja Vas here. So this is the guy who transported my father the day when I went hiking with my father. That's his house is right here. The house is right here. This will be it. Hell. It doesn't want to show me the house or anything. Okay, we're just gonna do it like this. I went walking like this, and it's 3.6 kilometers. And father was very strong. We were doing very good. And I feel that he didn't want to go because it was based on MKH scenario. Psychiatrist Peter KAPŠ would deliver me here during MKH with the father, and he also told me, if you're ever going to bring the father all the way here walking, it will go based on MKH scenario. That's exactly through this guy here. This is his house right there. You can see it. He will be the one, that's a bridge here from Šempeterski most. He will be the one taking your father to the center of the city. There will be a police meeting him, and it will be locked as if you forced your father too far away, and this will be used as an excuse for the stroke. This stuff I'm talking about, father knows very good. Psychiatrist Peter KAPŠ rehearsed this stuff together with the police on several different occasions, and that's exactly what this guy here, who was involved in this case probably 40 years, that's exactly what he did with his parents. He was involved in it. This guy spent Mount Everest of time inside of our house. This guy was involved in Mount Everest of torture during MKH. It's the guy who that day, since my father would not want to go back home or wait for me, at least at his home, I told my father, I'm going to go to pick up the car and I'm going to come right back and I'm going to take you home. I don't know what else I told my father, that I'm going to go, I don't know, get the taxi cab. I have a friend here on the other side of the Krka bridge, Joško Vidic, for whom I told my father, I told him, please, you're going to stay here at his place, and all I do is I go home quickly and I return home. And he didn't want to do, because he was ordered by the police to go directly to the guy I demonstrated you right there. And that was it. And that was it. He took him, instead of to our house, he took him to the residence in the city, which is even further away from our house. That's city right here. You can see the distance. And that was to be used by the police, by the psychiatrist Peter KAPŠ, based on MK Ultra scenario, by the neighbor Method Jerman. I just did. This is what the brainwash was all about. They suggested this stuff, that this is too much and this is what's going to bring the father into home for elderly people. I did not forget that, and not much after that. Father was thrown into home for elderly people. Mother, the way she was doing the cooking at home was such a cooking that you could see the fat basically dripping of the food that she was preparing. I mean, this is the food that not even 20-year-old could possibly carry on for too long. You know, the kind of food, pizza stuff shit that would just have, I don't know, lasagna, whatever you call the garbage, with completely insane amounts of beef meat, stuff like this, covered with a cheese and stuff like this, basically that would kill you if you are 20 years old. The police always was extremely sensitive by my father's physical condition, physical shape, and when they realized that with me that he goes out, that he starts to exercise and stuff, bingo. Not too much after that, that's exactly what happened. This is a very important issue to clarify. These individuals know absolutely everything. I think that he discussed with the MIRAN SODIN that there is a possibility to come from Ljubljana to Novo Mesto within even 27 minutes. With the Robert GOLOB, they were literally measuring. They even talk about 23 minutes, 25 minutes, 27 minutes. They were literally racing from Ljubljana to the Novo Mesto city, pushing the limits. Total lunacy to see how long would it take, how fast would it get from Ljubljana to our house to Novo Mesto. So this guy's got some real explanations to do. I call these people murderers, killers, with a good reason. People definitely they are not. They're wearing a blue uniforms. They do have these special credentials, authorization, state authorization. But these are the people who whacked my father. And this guy here is going to have to also explain about what went on with my father's eye. He's got also something to do with my father's eye. One of the eyes, apparently that he was guilty, that my father became blind on one of the eyes. That was caused literally by Robert GOLOB directly. And it was not caused by the accident, but it was ruled out that the steps he had taken, given the situation in which my father was in, clearly contributed to deliberate action of making my father blind. Yeah, this is the eye video recorded the other day during the visit to my father. It was a technician who told me they're going to do something to the father on an eye, so that they would remind me of this incident with the Robert GOLOB, that I could remind of that issue. And I really don't like this kind of stuff to be done. I don't see myself in causing harm to the father, so that you could remind me, so that I could talk about the father and stuff like this. You understand why I find this country, this nation, so fucking sick? You're fucking killing me, the old man, who is wasting his last days on a stuff like this on you, scum. You will understand exactly what I'm talking about. So, Andrej Štefanič, the funny man, obviously contemplated on a lot of issues. He was directly involved in a physical violence. 1985, 1984, 1983, 1985, along the Teška voda, Vrtnaria, etc. I remember all that stuff, man. I promise you I'm gonna fucking kill you when I get you in my hands. That was you, and I still remember you. Very good. He said he doesn't know anything about me. he said he doesn't know absolutely anything about me. No, nothing about my father. He was poking fun with Napechnik about my father. It was the first time apparently he met Napechnik. And MIRAN SODIN was the one who followed up the visit of Napechnik from Ljubljana. So clearly that these people contemplated, and I have absolutely no reason that after I left from Novo Mesto to Poland through Slovakia in 2018, I have absolutely no reason not to believe that they whack him here to the degree that he had to undergo. You know, I'm not going to go into it. Whatever they have done to him. They were playing with him at mentioned department, surgical brain department in Ljubljana already before. Why would they have him at that department? Why were they playing with him at that department and so on? Why would they keep him there? So, but this is just important to notice that Andrej Štefanič is a bastard, is a criminal, is a diabolical individual. He looks like a very decent, nice, honest person. And that's about the biggest qualities this criminal possesses. He was involved in much more than just crime against me. Something happened to the father in 2018, and I don't even know what happened to the father here at home. I did go for a walk at nights, I walk around, I exercise. This shit was so stressful to me, and that's Andrej Štefanič. I'm not going to say in a nutshell, but we will meet again. They gestured me that I have to talk nice about them because we will meet again. We will meet again. We will definitely meet again. I had no reason to believe these people are capable of doing something like that. I have absolutely, I possibly don't believe that somebody is so fucking crazy. Why would you talk to somebody about doing stuff like this on a first place? If you were gonna do it, usually stuff is done without people knowledge, right? That's at least how I view the whole thing is. Why would you talk to anybody about this kind of stuff? And I even figure out that GOLOB was involved in it. A bunch of these people were involved in it. That the way they talk about racing with a car to Novo Mesto, etc., etc., etc. When they were talking about that kind of stuff, it seemed to me that it actually appeared to me as if they actually even care about my father, about my family. It appeared to me as if they were rushing from Ljubljana to the Novo Mesto. It sounded to me like a police response, you know, like you're responding to a crime, to a certain situation, because you don't have anybody that would assist from vicinity in that sense, you know. It absolutely made no fucking sense for me to assume that these people were capable of carrying out something like this. That's how it always starts systematically. It looks like a game. It looks like they're actually on your side, like they're actually siding, helping you out. They're concerned for you and so on. That was not the case. They contemplated literally on a murder of my father. They definitely murdered my father, man. They made my father definitely blind. They were playing with the pepper spray with me. They were using kind of drops to drip them in my father's eyes. They were doing this stuff. You know that with a pepper spray, with the use of pepper spray alone, that you can blind human being. If you continue to spray him, that you can contribute to the such issues like Rumena pega, a yellow spot. I think it's called yellow spot, a retina, yeah, in English. So, not that this guy did not know anything about my father or Josip Broz Tito. Like I said, this is like a sort of continuation for this video here. about my neighbor here, Metod Yerman. This fucking guy, Andrej Štefanič, he knew too much about it. He was involved directly on the hit of my father. It is done systematically to put your guards down, and with the use of drugs, they make your brain soft as sponge. You don't even know what the fuck goes on. A little bit electroshocks and you're in heaven. Absolutely. That's that. This is about animals from Novo Mesto police station also. But foremost, those they work for from Ljubljana. Wait, that's almost crazy. I almost went on to publish this thing here, and that would not make any sense here. Police played stroke game with my father since 2000. It's like this. Let me give you like detail, complete detail. I will never forget Nurse Janko. I don't know whether he was already employed at Home for Elderly People or not, but beginning 1998, when they would deliver me at Home for Elderly People, also where they would deliver Mother at Home for Elderly People, they were totally taken over. Like you would, like, I don't actually find the expression for my mom, because I was drugged up. If I would see that kind of stuff they're doing with my father, it would not end well. You know, if I possibly could kill these people, I would use deadly force on them. That explains absolutely everything. My mama, however, was just skeptical about it and have done fucking shit about it. Nurse Janko was completely taken over. He was, the way they presented crime during MK Ultra that included poisoning, absolutely everything. It was like, now we give him a cancer, etc., and you would go, if he's gonna go to cancer, it was like this. If he's gonna get the cancer, then it's over, and so on. No, it's not over, because then we give him garlic or whatever, and this kills the cells and so on. That's what they were doing. I'm just giving you an example of it. So people read about the stuff, cancer and this and that and so on, and there is no immediate outcome when it comes to play with the stuff like that, you know. People expect immediate outcome, etc., etc. At least I expected also immediate. I didn't know what the fuck they were doing with me. But how can I say, just as I assume for the father that they are just making sure about how long would it take from Ljubljana here, because in case nobody will respond to our emergency here in Novo Mesto from Novo Mesto, which is JANEZ OGULIN is going to have to explain its director and director before him about that kind of stuff. Yeah, they also claim that they will be the police. They got a number of police officers swear in the face and will not go and respond to you, whatever. In exactly the same way as I assume that that's actually to benefit, I assume that when they were doing the stuff with the health, they're just trying to make me paranoid. You know, that's actually nothing bad that's happening. And it's the same shit they were doing with the father. They were rehearsing strokes and demonstrating my mother about stupid stuff, about how the massage you do, whatever you do, and what is important that during the moments like this that he doesn't do certain things and so on. But they did rehearsed strokes. Nurse Janko was one of the people who witnessed to this. Do you refer to this as a crime? This stuff was repeated time and again with what they intended, with the obvious outcome. They murdered my father. Now, my father could live healthy up to 120. He was an extremely healthy man. He ate organic, high quality food. And he practically failed apart at age 80, I'm going to say. He was still mobile, but eye issues, diabetes issues, all kinds of issues started to pop up out of nowhere. They destroyed him. They completely decimated him. They made him lay down in the bed for what they claim they even pay, I don't know how much money to the younger people. They are willing to commit themselves for an extended period to lay down in the bed without moving. They were, psychiatrist Peter KAPŠ was laughing at me and laughing at my father. He said, too bad that you are too old, because if you were just a little younger, if you were younger for so many years, we would pay you $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Do you understand what the fuck this is? I mean, this is like you go poke fun out of fucking killing somebody right out on fucking bright daylight. That's what this is about.